What's up, everybody, and welcome to week 2 of Waiting Room. We're back, and as a quick reminder to our players manager out there, Michaelis, happy birthday, and also to Glenn, our observer, another happy birthday to him. That's crazy.
Happy birthday.
Wow, how that happened.
I think it's Revenge's birthday.
It is?
Damn, everyone's got June birthdays. Me and Kobe are the 29th together. It's coming up end of this week, or starting next week, I don't know.
We do not care.
It looks like the LCS logo.
Yes, exactly. You have the LCS pillow on your left and the logo on the PC on your right. You are positioned.
Wardrobe is killing it. I don't dress like this. They just slap stuff on me.
That's what you're wearing. That's how you dress.
That's great.
If I was in a different state of mind, I would enjoy your shirt quite a bit. But anyway, standings and schedule, bring them up. Let's see what week 1 has brought us. It's Super Week basically every week.
Oh, this is new.
Oh, nice. We get to see the future opponents. Yes.
This is a substantial upgrade.
Oh, this is so cool.
Well, hold on. You're going to make the other person feel bad, whoever made the first one.
Okay, I don't think someone's like, I made the standings graphics for years. It just wasn't good enough. Like, this is just both.
This is nice.
It's better. It's better.
Which one, like,
the same
reaches
person
out
made
to you?
The new one.
Oh, then he's just...
That's why continuity is important.
He's the GOAT.
You find innovations over time, and you can build on what you previously accomplished.
Emily, anything reaching out to you right now, either the schedule or just a team that's performing that you didn't expect?
I think the big one that stands out to me that I want to see if they can continue their momentum is TL versus NRG. Just because I feel like we saw shades of old spring TL in their first game, but in the next 2 games, they actually improved significantly around objective setups, and obviously they had the insane gold lead that came out. So I'm really curious to see that matchup.
What about you guys?
Has to be FlyQuest versus C9.
There it is.
3-0 versus the only 0-3. The best team in the league, Cloud9 against FlyQuest.
The worst team in the league, FlyQuest.
Question mark, worst team in the league? It is
what it says.
It's weird to see them down there, but it does feel like, okay, Cloud9 are expected to win this, and then they're basically halfway through the first round robin because you play 9 games, and they're at 0-4. It's terrifying as FlyQuest, you know, even that's a compressed schedule, less time to bounce back.
Yeah, I also think it's extra terrifying. This is the type of schedule that all the LCS teams had in 2021, where you're playing 3 best-of-1s a week. It feels worse than it usually is, which then does actually make it bad.
Yeah.
Because FlyQuest had a bad week.
Yes.
Normally, that's 2 losses. Now it is 50% more. If they had 2 bad weeks, it's like they've had 3 bad weeks, and that's how it feels. But literally, it's like, dude, it's been 2 weeks. Like, what do you want? Like, it's just a couple things went wrong.
It's also interesting talking about like 100 Thieves from that angle. Someone made this point to me, is like the extra game changes so much, because if it was just 2 games, they're 1-1, and they feel pretty good because they beat FlyQuest, and you don't know that FlyQuest is 0-3 yet. So week 1 ends, and you spend the whole next set of scrims being like, hey, we beat FlyQuest, guys, and we're 1-1. We're feeling pretty good. Now you're 1-2, FlyQuest is 0-3, and it's like a totally different texture, even if the record would have been the same at the start of a week 2.
If you're overdosing on copium, 0-4 is the nice trajectory to getting to the finals. Look, it's happened last
Golden Guardians did it.
It's
the data says
again.
It can happen.
He's just a data guy, right? He's just
It is
It's possible.
Yes.
No, it will happen.
There it is. Okay, we're holding you to that one. But there has been a change.
0-4 in spring.
Huh?
Is it just 1? There was 2, right?
I think there's 2. I don't remember who
Who
the
was
other
the
one
other
was.
50% chance of
Who
making
was the other one? Name the other one. Can't do it.
The probability. But there has been a change, which is new patch. 13.12 dropped for us. So it's going to be interesting to see a lot of new changes.
It's a
There's
fatty.
one that hits a little harder than others.
Yeah, Static Shiv is effing broken.
We'll get there, all right? We'll get there.
We're gonna see it on a lot of champions, I think. My like incredibly lukewarm take about this patch.
I'm ready for this.
Is actually, are you ready? Is that we're going to see a lot of changes that actually happened in 13.11 come to fruition, because pros are a little bit slower to adapt. So I think especially with stuff we've been seeing around other pro leagues, Renekton coming in, which we have seen a little bit, but Renekton coming back, Azir coming back, those changes actually happened on 13.11, but I think we'll see them a lot more on 13.12 based on what we've been seeing on the back end of 13.11.
Yeah, and Rell got a whole host of changes, by the way. So as a champion, she's a little bit absurd. I've only really seen her in ARAMs, I'm not gonna lie. So the fact that her Q, when she's can stun now, and she gives movement speed to the person next to her. So it'll be interesting to see if there are any pairs that people are willing to play alongside her. Zeri got nerfed, pretty big nerf. Hopefully nerfs that will take her out of the game.
Have you heard of the new like nuke Zeri build?
Let's just hope that it's not good enough for a 90, above 90%.
I think it's if I remember correctly, because Sheen no longer procs
Sheen,
so
yeah.
yeah, you take out the Triforce build, but I think what it is you can either go like Night Harvester Static and like Ludens, or like Nashor's Tooth and Static Shiv, if I'm remembering correctly.
That sounds fun.
That sounds fun and bad.
Fun, but also it's like Zeri is possibly still here, and maybe we'll see some weird builds with her.
Yeah.
Zeri's just fun.
Oh, I'll believe
Sure.
Zeri. I've heard Zeri's dead many times.
Yeah.
I'll believe it when I don't see her.
She's fun.
Yes.
She's probably fine and fun.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
This is fine.
We're
Yeah.
Is it though?
I like Yumi Zeri. I'm
Yeah. It's
Speaking
cool.
of fun, I think you
Fast,
guys
too.
have something that you wanted to talk about related to a very fun addition to the patch.
Yeah.
So Static Shiv, before we
Yeah.
go up there, we're gonna
Yeah.
play a 1v1.
Okay.
But the reason it's hella broken are the changes around how it stacks its passive. Well, first off, it's broken just numerically. It can like destroy waves. It has
Right.
a lot of really high damage.
What you don't see here is that damage is 2.5x against minions. So you can proc it and
With an AP scaling that's pretty high.
Yeah, so the fact that it has an AP ratio that you can get pretty nuts-a-butts on it, and so a lot of mages are taking in the mid lane. You can also cheat the charging of it with a champion like LeBlanc, because not only does your W forward start charging it up, your W2 backwards when you snap back also gives you stacks of it.
Yeah.
So you just get insane wave clear and like one-shot potential and DPS with this. There's a lot of like weird builds. Some people have gone LeBlanc top with like borderline bruiser but Static Shiv. Like you can do a
Yeah.
lot of really weird stuff now.
we've seen, I mean, Static Shiv TF showed up in Academy, but then more specifically, tons of LeBlanc, tons of Ahri. You can even do it on Zoe. Who can't you do it on? We'll see. We'll see as the experimentation
No one.
continues.
And I think you guys wanted to experiment.
Yeah, we wanted to show off a little bit, but Jat challenged me because he
Yeah.
thought that my mechanics are so bad that like he can just take a basic right clicker champion
Yeah.
and still beat me with the new Shiv, even though I'm playing LeBlanc and I can pop around.
I
I'm
agree
an
with
AD
him.
carry, so Shiv is what I would like to build, is what traditional League of
I'm
Legends has taught
LeBlanc.
me.
I also want to build Shiv now.
So we're gonna see which one is better.
We're gonna go.
Jat's winning this one.
Let's go.
Oh, no.
I'll show the interaction real quick. So like you get the bounce
I
through
just
the
wasted
creeps
my
right
Shiv
there.
proc. No.
You just
All right.
wasted your
Run
Shiv
around
proc.
in circles.
You can see it charging as you run around down here.
Crap.
But if I W forward, it pops up and I get the
Ooh, I
charge.
just shivved again. Damn it.
But yeah, I can also get multiple procs. So I can W there, W back. Oh, I went back on the
Well, I'm gonna-
damage.
I'm
But you
gonna-
can see
I'm
that
gonna
the
get you.
I'm trying to show off. This,
Is this not a 1v1?
It's a
I was trying
1v1
to
mark.
show off
Yeah.
what Shiv did with LeBlanc passive.
Do it by
or W.
killing me.
You can show it by being good.
Well, I was trying to. Okay. Well, I'll
Look at
just
all
start
those
down here.
minions
I'm down
disappearing.
some since we
Okay,
did the 1v1
okay,
before.
go grab my heal. Go grab my heal.
Oh,
Make it
you're
fair.
gonna make
Really?
it fair?
Go
All
grab my
thank you.
heal.
I'm going.
This is collusion.
Otherwise, I
Wow.
could just win. We'll restart. We understand that it works when you proc
Dignitas
around. Get on the other side of the wave.
I'm going.
Dig
I'm
versus
going, I'm going.
curse.
I got
This
my
is what
got
they're
it coming
All
back
right,
up.
We're seeing
now
here.
we fight.
Dig versus curse.
Now we fight.
All right. We fight, but I'm waiting for my ult still. Ow. I don't like this range thing. I'm gonna get in the bush. Oh, you have a trap in the bush.
I feel like objectively,
Oh, crap.
Cassio. Oh.
Oh.
Huh?
Oh, I hit the minion! I'm so trash. I tried to take my R2 back. Oh, well. Jack's
That's
better
what's
than
right.
me.
Didn't show off Shiv very well.
You were right about no
Back, you
hands.
backed
But we
the
had fun
right
doing it.
person.
I had a lot of fun watching it.
Yeah.
I'll
that
get
was
better. That was my first LeBlanc game with Static Shiv in a while. As you can see, it's clearly broken that it was even in close fight with our old man hands.
That was not good.
That was a
That was not a good segment.
It was fast. It was nice.
I was
Twitch chat.
entertained.
Twitch chat. Tell us it was a good segment right now,
Okay.
and then when we watch the VOD back, we'll be like, see, look, they
If
liked
we
it.
get enough positive
They liked
reception,
it.
we'll do one tomorrow too. Just on
Yeah,
Wait, what?
we'll run some other people.
Well, yeah, like
What?
what do they want to see us fight on?
Well, I
don't
want to
know.
do 1v1 with pros. Initially, this pitch in my
Okay.
head was
Yeah.
like, let's do 1v1 with pros, and they
People
can
with
pick whatever
actual
Static
hands,
Shiv champ
yeah.
they
I
want.
was a pro.
An age-old pro. That's from a decade ago when you guys were dinosaurs. Speaking of pros, though, 100 Thieves have a new mid laner. He's arrived. His name is Quid, and he's talking about making an LCS debut in his own words. So let's take a look at that.
안녕하세요. 저는 백도둑의 새로운 미드라이너 퀴드 이면승이라고 합니다. 잘 부탁드립니다. 저는 롤을 10살 때 시작했습니다. 프로 준비를 16살부터 시작해서 16살에 젠지에 처음 들어갔고 4년 동안 젠지 아카데미에서 활동하다가 이번에 백도둑으로 오게 됐습니다. 저는 라인전을 이긴 걸 바탕으로 성장을 열심히 해서 팀의 승리를 끌어내는 약간 그런 느낌의 클러치 플레이를 좋아하는 선수인 것 같습니다. 저는 안 좋은 편이라 생각하는데 주변에서는 저는 메카닉이나 피지컬적인 부분이 좋은 선수라고 하더라고요. 지금 당장은 좀 아직 적응이 완벽하게 되지 않았고 그렇긴 하지만 지금 충분히 약간 새로운 사람들과 만나는 게 재밌고 분위기가 되게 좋아서 좋은 것 같습니다. 우선 팀원들은 되게 충분히 잘하는 선수들인 것 같아서 저만 적응 잘하고 의사소통에 문제 없으면은 되게 지금 기대되고 충분히 좋은 결과 낼 수 있을 것 같다 생각합니다. 북미 가는 느낌은 우선 살면서 처음 타보는 비행기이기도 하고 해외를 처음 가보는 거라 되게 설레고 두근거립니다. 지금 LCS에 굉장히 잘하는 선수들이 많다고 생각해서 재밌을 것 같고 더 잘해질 수 있는 약간 성장의 계기가 될 수 있을 것 같습니다. 저는 우승을 목표로 보고 있고 충분히 모두가 빛나면서 우승할 수 있을 거라 생각합니다.
Welcome back. So yeah, Quid is here. He's been streaming pretty regularly, but he's touched down in North America, I think a few days ago.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure of the timing. So what's your guys' takes on him coming in?
Upgrade from Nuke Duck.
What?
Yeah, we'll take that. Yeah.
Honestly, Nuke Duck did like pretty. They're pretty all right.
Yeah.
I think the big thing with Quid in him coming in, it was interesting to hear that he doesn't think he's like at the top mechanically in terms of like Korean challenger mids. I think in watching him on Gen G Academy, the thing that struck me the most was the fact that he is willing to play a lot of different champions, right?
Yeah.
So obviously it says right here, 18 across 46 games in the Challenger Spring in this past regular season. He was, they didn't perform super hotly, especially having lost Pays to the actual Gen G main team.
Yeah.
However, I think the thing that you can expect from Quid is that if there is something experimental that they think they can play in lane, if there's something they feel like they can flex between like jungle and mid or mid and top, etc., they can rely on him being able to try out new and unique things. So I think in terms of him as a player, that is his greatest strength.
Yeah, I think they need him as well, given that last weekend you saw some of the problems that this team has had, including going back to Spring Split, where there's these games where they feel relatively inactive and the enemy team gets to do what they want. Specifically that third game, it felt like that. But even the Team Liquid one a little bit. It feels like having this X factor potentially in the mid lane where he has interesting champion picks, he will probably be a little bit more individually aggressive than Bjergsen was in Spring Split. So even if, I don't know if he's going to be a better player, but like he'll at least maybe take more 1v1s. You saw he had a number of solo kills that was quite high. So like he will take these hopefully more aggressive plays, which can force 100 Thieves out of these moments where it feels like they're just kind of like farming and chilling and not trying to progress their own game plan.
And a different dynamic to the team, you're right. I think the fact that he plays multiple different champions, and people who've watched his streams recognize, oh, he's playing Ashe, oh, he's playing Azir. Like, he has a lot of different, or Akali or something, or LeBlanc. Like, obviously, they're either assassins or control mages. He feels really comfortable being able to play both. And something that 100 Thieves have pretty much struggled in last split. And struggling this split, it's only been a week, but has been kind of that identity issue where they feel like they can only win playing front-to-back team fight around double lift. So having now a different carry threat, where some days expected to be more tank facilitator and getting no resources, that's what he's been really successful with, I think helps them a lot for their championship ambitions.
Well, another thing you saw from 100 Thieves in their win against FlyQuest, right, was Someday on the Renekton. And then being able to play around, having pressure bot with the Lucian Milio lane, and then also pressure top with Someday Renekton into Cassante, I believe. And I thought in that game, especially with the invade that FlyQuest had, there's a really good response from Closer in being able to play around his pushing lanes, right? So if they are able to get some of these creative picks in for Quid, I would like to see if they can also have a really good, strong, like, jungle mid 2v2, because it didn't feel like they played a ton around having, like, super aggressive pushing mids previously as well. And if you can have that, it's such an amazing point for your entire team to be able to play around.
I agree, but I also just, like, I feel like if Quid is going to succeed, he's just going to have to create his own leads, right? Like what we just saw in that feature, he did it all in Korean. He's super young, and he's on a team with Doublelift.
Yeah.
So Doublelift is going to be talking the most in the game. He's going to be calling the shots. Doublelift has won every LCS split by playing through bot lane. So he can still be good. I just don't think it's going to be in like a Quid will carry the game because the team plays around Quid. I think he has to be his own player and has to do it on his own.
Yeah, I think to that point about some of the things you said, young, first time coming to the U.S. He mentioned like the first time going overseas at all, let alone to America, I'm pretty sure. So like he's going to need some time, and I hope people don't jump down his throat immediately if the team has this acclimation period. Like this week, 8 teams make playoffs in Summer Split. Very likely they can make playoffs. It's about hitting their stride then and finding out how to incorporate him with what is usually a summer lift strategy, as people call it.
Yeah, and so he's not the only, I guess, change. Yes, he's coming in. Actually, Ruby was expected to play this week, I'm sure. Like, that was what the expectation was from the community. Insanity is apparently going to be playing today. So just kind of like talk about your thoughts about Insanity as a player, the week that he had in week 1, and like what your expectation is with TSM going into this week.
So Insanity playing well last week was not at all a surprise to me, having watched him in NACL. He was incredible. And I think a lot of people don't realize this because, like a lot of players, they have a very set idea of who Insanity is, and it's his prior LCS experience, which wasn't particularly good. He was not on a super strong team. And so having him come in and being able to showcase how good he is, I was super thrilled by that, actually, because I think, again, he's been crushing it previously on Dig Challengers. And I'm not surprised that he performed as well as he did individually on that team. So I don't know. I mean, again, there's no communication around this, so we don't know if that is a reward for like his good play. But I think if that's the case, and if your mid laner is already playing well, there's not a huge issue to substitute him out. And also, him playing well does put them in a weird spot, like kind of how we talked about previously with FlyQuest and Winsome last split, where Ayla came in and there was already a lot of pressure on him because the team had performed unexpectedly well with Winsome.
Yeah, I think this is something that I have learned more about over the years. But I think Insanity starting, regardless of reason, is the right call.
Yeah.
And I think it's true across a lot of sports. Like if you have let's say your NFL football team, your quarterback gets injured week 1, but then the backup leads the team to go like 13-3. You should keep playing him until things don't work, I think, generally. And I think Insanity played well. And if he continues to play well, Insanity should just be the mid laner. And I know that is unfair for Ruby, and it can feel unfair, but it's unfair to take Insanity out unless his performance declines, right? I actually think this is the correct way to do it if you are to play it properly. Like, either Insanity's not playing well, and then you can try Ruby to improve things. But if Insanity continues to play well, continue to play Insanity. I think it's actually that simple.
I subscribe to that philosophy. I know there's like sometimes like the politicking behind the scenes sometimes about like what you promised someone and why they came over. And so like maybe Ruby was like, I don't know if I want to come to TSM guys. And they sold him like, hey, you should come here, for this money, these reasons, you're going to be the starter for sure. Just once you get over here. And then Insanity plays well. It's like, well, you made a lot of promises to this guy. Maybe they're not all in writing, but it can feel bad to back out on them. But it is cool that, Insanity played well week 1, still in here week 2.
Yeah, and I'm interested to hear what their reasoning is. It could just be as simple as like, oh, when he came in, he just didn't have much time to practice.
Yeah, Ruby needs more warm-up time.
Exactly. It could just simply be as simple as that. It's nice to see Insanity once again getting a chance to see if he has another good week. But speaking of, if he has another good week or not, why not just bring up the graphic of the standings and the schedule to see what TSM has to work with, and of course the other teams. So. Who are they facing? IMT, NRG, Golden Guardians. A very doable week, it seems like.
Yeah, I think there's a really interesting clump at 1 and 2 right now, and who's going to rise out of that. Even Immortals at 2 and 1, EG at 2 and 1. It feels like everything except even FlyQuest at 10th, I think, is going to change. Like the only thing I'm very confident in is C9 number 1. Everything else on this graphic could radically change over the next couple of weeks, and I would not be like super stunned by that.
And with how many changes there are for me, it feels like the league got a lot closer. There's not a team that you come in and like, oh, they are for sure at the bottom. I kind of felt like that coming into the split, but after week 1, after some of the rumors and discussion about like, oh, this team's actually doing really well or poorly in scrims, all of that gets thrown to the wayside. So it's tough to look at this standing schedule and be like, no, this team 100% is not going to perform. We had a segment last week where it's like, who is the phony of the standings, who isn't? Does anyone want to double down or what?
I want to ask you.
Okay.
Who's the second best team in the league? Throw your. You get to redo your power ranking right now.
Team Liquid.
Who's second at the end of 6 weeks?
Team Liquid. Oh, at the end of 6 weeks.
At the end of 6.
I thought we were just doing like some.
Because
everyone
put FlyQuest second. You can still set. You can double down.
Can we bring up the schedule once again so we can at least see the teams?
Maybe throw it in the back wall.
Or somewhere,
Put the power rankings up for Raz.
I just want to see.
Everybody put before.
Calm down, relax.
Sure, I want
15 more games.
C9 and then FlyQuest and then GG, which is looking pretty rough right now.
But don't be a prisoner of the moment, Emily.
Golden Guardians actually had a assuming our power rankings are even close to right. Golden Guardians did have a tough week 1 in theory, and so I think they'll rise. I'm not too worried about Golden Guardians. I would maybe move them up to 2, but I feel a lot less confident with EG looking as good as they did and maybe Team Liquid.
Yeah, man.
It's tough.
I remember in spring, I had Team Liquid like 3rd or 4th.
Yep,
yeah.
Same.
I was actually right. I just did it too early.
Oh.
So maybe.
I also said they're more a summer split team, I said, winning my spring rankings. And I guess I doubted myself because, to be fair, they looked way worse than I thought they would in spring.
I can't.
But this might be the real Team Liquid in a sense because people were really hot on them.
It's actually so hard to pick a number 2, though.
I think, we're finally kind of seeing the team that was promised in scrims from TL in terms of as long as they did shore up some of those mid-game map movements and especially objective setups and team fighting, they were going to be good because their early game was already one of the best in the league.
Yeah.
Another super interesting team that we haven't talked about that much is EG. Right?
Yeah.
Because I think there are really specific things you can point out in EG's loss that's okay, now there are a few players, I'm thinking of Revenge in particular, who's a really, really strong top laner, right? But he's going to take a different role on this team now in terms of where he's going to be positioning in team fights and how he's going to be, when he's going to be with the team versus when he's not going to be with the team.
He's a Scion player now.
I think we saw a little bit of that, right, in their loss in terms of the way they were team fighting. And I think that will improve over time, right? He's not really had to play that role. He's always had to be more of a split pushing carry for his team if they were going to win. But EG is another team. I mean, JoJo looks phenomenal.
Yes, he does.
And they just look really good. So I'm actually had no idea where to place them either.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people's eyes probably in the chat are going to be talking about Golden Guardians. It seems like they have a pretty easy week. They were second place last split. There's a lot to talk about them, and it starts with today's games versus Dignitas. So let's take a look at their roster. Licorice, River, Gori, Stixxay, Huhi, nothing changed there. They're going to be going up against Dignitas, who they took a win last week.
Why did they take the win?
Huh?
Why did they take the win?
Say his name.
Yeah, they took the win.
Who carried them, Raz?
Say it.
It was Rich.
Say his name.
Rich's Cassante. It was Rich. Odds Faker himself, Santorin, Jensen, Tomo, and Diamond to round out that lineup.
Watching Hots Faker in the top lane that whole game.
That's why they struggle in lane phase, the rest of the team, is because they're busy watching Hots Faker. Okay, but on the real, I think a lot of people, myself included, were like, okay, Rich will probably be good.
Yeah.
He'll come in, but he won't do much for this team because the team will struggle, blah, blah, blah. But this game, EG, you can see, had a lead, and it felt like they were playing well. And it was a lot of Rich's plays in team situations that helped keep this game close around this Rift Herald fight. And then in late game team fights, he was really good about getting targets, getting focused down, setting up the rest of his team. He really was the reason that they won. I think Jensen had a little bit better of a game in the mid to late game portions. You still need more out of Tomo and Diamond, I think, for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
But it's really cool to see that Rich is being this kind of stable player in the top side.
I like it. In some of the team fights, it was a scrappy back and forth game. There were chances there, Unforgiven was a little bit too close to the melee champs at times, but it was Dignitas finding those openings and taking it. It was Rich, for sure. So that...
You're coming around on Rich.
I'm coming around. Look, I'm not a hater.
Rich hater Raz.
I'm not a hater. I just want to see more. I'm interested.
Raz, #1 Rich hater.
Oh
Dude's
my
been playing
God.
League for years, man. You need to see more.
All right, listen. He just doesn't pre-order. He's not a pre-order. He waits for reviews to come out.
Exactly.
Yeah,
He waits for a couple days of reviews to make sure you're not just riding the hype wave, right?
I agree with you. Exactly. I don't want to just throw my bucks right out the window.
Definitely have
Your Raz
pre-ordered
bucks.
Final Fantasy 16, right?
I will pre-order. That one instantly. You know what?
Rich.
You're pre-ordering Rich?
Pre-ordered now. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're talking about bucks. You were talking about draft bucks. You want to talk about draft bucks?
We have a cool new draft graphic too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Look.
Augers.
Oh, that's nice.
So I did want to talk a little bit about Golden Guardians drafts because I thought they went super, like, early game lane focused with the Lucian Nami in their first 2 games, and then did some sort of stuff that we saw from them previously in spring when they were successful. Obviously, like the Jax flex into the jungle was an interesting look, but at the same time, in this game specifically against C9, they technically had an early game lead, but their execution, they had to have a much more massive lead against C9's comp in order to be able to win that game. That was a loss. This is a loss. You get to the FlyQuest game, and suddenly they're investing in stuff like Azir, which I already talked about him on 13-11, which was last week. I think we're going to see a lot more of him this week. And then the Aphelios Lulu in the bot lane, plus the interesting addition of the Yone, which then went split push hole breaker, and kind of being a distraction around the map for FlyQuest to follow. I thought these drafts are pretty interesting in terms of how they evolved over, so I'm curious to see if they will continue to kind of rely on that late game scaling that I think has worked out, because previously in their first 2 games, despite the fact that we talked about them as being a really good early game focused team, especially with River and Gori setting up, I think that pivoting away from the Lucian Nami, if they felt like they couldn't accrue a large enough lead for it to work out, was a good idea.
Yeah, they stumble a little bit. They've always been a creative team when it comes to the draft. I think a lot of people, I know we'll see the predictions soon enough, are going to be heavily favoring Golden Guardians on this one. But one person out there has faith in Dignitas. Let's hear from him.
Is it Rich?
I'm playing against Renekton. Okay. Predictions for today. Dig vs GGS. Honestly, I think people might think this game is going to be like a stomp, but I genuinely think that Dignitas can beat GGS. I'm actually going to say Dignitas. I genuinely believe that they can beat GGS. Based off of scrims.
Is Fudge on this graphic?
Mark!
He is not.
Mark.
Whoa!
90%er.
Yeah, I guess I'm voting Dig. I'll say this. I told the producer I'm not submitting predictions today. Do what you want. So this is my first time.
Say
You
that and
are
then
lazy.
Oh my god.
But look, hey, I actually like these
Wait,
predictions.
So
You're
is
perpetuating-
I like these
You're
predictions.
predicting now.
Is
Are
this
these what you
Graham
would say?
giving you
Yep, 100%.
FlyQuest
Okay.
over
You can't run away
C9?
from it.
No, this is 100. Now this is 100% what I believe. Now
You
that
can't do that and then not back them up. That's part of the game.
You can't run away from it
I'm
now.
not changing. I actually love these. I love all of them.
Okay, let's
It
just-
doesn't count though,
Why not?
because they're
2 weeks down the line, if you're wrong, you can't say, I didn't submit the predictions.
yeah. You
You're
submitted these.
Yes, you
Yeah.
submitted it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
Okay.
perpetuating the Mark is lazy stereotype, all right? Just
No, I just like empowering the producers to, do things, have fun.
You need
like
to
that.
say I submitted these for sure, and then I'll believe you. You submitted those predictions. Those
I
are
did.
yours.
Those are my predictions, Jet, and I
Okay.
stick with them. And if I'm wrong, I'll do a.
Then you're wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm
Then
wrong.
you're just.
I was gonna say do a shoey because I had high tops on, but then I didn't want to do that.
All right, I want to hear what the casters have to think of what you're going to do. But for now, show open. We'll see you guys on the other side.
Hello and welcome to week 2 of summer 2023 of the LCS. I'm Gabby. We got Kobe here. We got Dignitas. We got Golden Guardians to bring us into it. How you doing today, my friend?
And we got patch 1312. Fresh off the Yuumi nerfs. Very excited for this. I just updated the client here for Tournament Realm 2. I'm going to get in the game so we can get in the game as quick as possible. Here we go. Champ Select. Let's start it off.
Very impressed with your dedication to get in there as we get into Champions Select. Dignitas and Golden Guardians both coming to us fresh off of 1-2 finishes for week 1, but with varying expectations for the split as a whole.
Yeah, and Fudge laying some extra expectations here onto Dignitas, calling for the victory over Golden Guardians here. Now, Nico did escape the nerfs, so she stays banned. LeBlanc with Static Shiv has run rampant. You can use Static Shiv on a lot more champions, though. I'm wondering if we'll see stuff like the Zoe, the Ahri pop up here as well. So definitely expecting some item chasing in the meta for the last couple of patches, honestly, rather than champion chasing, and we'll see how it goes.
It's definitely the shiny new thing after all the mid-season changes to a lot of the itemization, mythics falling to legendaries and vice versa, but also discovering that optimization between a champion and item, sometimes unexpected. Zeri with Triforce, for instance, being one that was around, but now with 13.12, might see a bit of a different look in the bot lane.
Yep. There have been some interesting Zeri builds that have popped up in answer to removing the Triforce synergy, so wondering if it'll still get picked even with the nerfs and with the changes. Azir, though, something nobody's surprised if you've been watching any other leagues. Azir with those buffs rose up really quickly in priority, especially as a blind pick. Lots of wave push. Everything you know and love about Azir and you used to know and love still does. Scales team fights. Meanwhile, though, for top lane, also some other blind picks like Renekton, keeping with the Shurima theme, has also risen up in priority. And we'll see if we get any deeper there. But the Akali, the classic answer to Azir, this is a kill answer post level 6, looking for outplays here. Gori wants to go at Jensen. He wants to get those kills.
And Golden Guardians continuing just to take that forward-thinking approach when it comes to the draft. Gori was already warming up on the Azir in week 1, and then I'm sure in anticipation of Azir coming back into the meta, having these answers at the ready. But Dignitas looking to get some additional lock-ins here with some jungles taken out, especially of the facilitative variety. They lock in the Maokai.
My personal favorite. It's so easy to play on the patch. You can do the cheaper support item tank builds with the Even Shroud, Sunfire, Abyssal combination. Since you have an Azir on your team, you don't need to go demonic. You don't need to go any of that magic damage, build for the Maokai. I expect Santorin to be pure tank here with those support items. And the best part is with your Even Shroud and your Abyssal, you amp the Azir's damage as well. So huge synergy here for Dignitas. I'm actually really liking their side of the draft. The Ashe was recently buffed, so picking that Ashe, jumping up immediately on this patch, and gives you that initiation to go along with the Maokai. Really solid team fight for Dig so far.
And the additional level to that Ashe being that the changes were supposed to affect both her role as a bot laner as well as a support. So instilling that flexibility in Ashe once again, particularly with the ultimate. And then on Golden Guardian's side, with Kindred being up, not banned away as she has been so frequently banned early at the start of the split, now available for River.
Yep, Kindred's gonna have to wait until next patch before Kindred receives their nerfs. And so still will be a terror, still with the Triforce power, lots of early invade possibilities. And if you're gonna go for an early invade possibility with Kindred, you definitely want some pushing lanes. Guess what? Akali is not that. So if there was gonna be one, it would have to be a top lane matchup for themselves. It would have to be Licorice picking one of his counter picks. So we expect Golden Guardians to save him for their last pick, and you can see they're banning out the tank top lane options here already. K'Sante Sion down off the board. They really want to get it into something spicier there so that either of these two top laners, which honestly are the stars of both of these teams, can have their way.
Rich was showing up very big on K'Sante last week to prove to be a strong point that the team can work around, especially as a new player trying to really set the tone for the rest of the split on Dignitas. And then Licorice, even when you are banning out a lot of the meta picks, he's known to have such a varied pool. A lot of the winning identity that Golden Guardians discovered in spring was off of that agency given to the players to play what they feel is right in the moment. Even in his last interview, kind of noting when he's just picking up a champ just to see what it feels like, and ends up working out for them.
Yeah, and K'Sante by far far the best champion that we've seen Rich on. So definitely love that ban from Golden Guardians, and we'll see what else he can do. His specialty, of course, does focus a lot on that team fighting, and especially with the strategy that Dig have laid out in their first 3 picks, still expect him to serve that role.
It was talked about actually in that content piece that was run on the broadcast that talked about Dignitas, how good his team fighting can be. So very much so, Kobe, would make sense for them to index, but his Jax.
I expect like a Gragas answer into the Jax is really one of the easiest, most reliable answers into this champion, and would provide some front lane playmaking options for Rich, some team fighting for Rich. So really would like that. But if it's 2 tank line lock-ins here, they go with the Poppy instead. Obviously, you're going to be able to interrupt the dashes of the Jax in your 1v1, but also the Kindred and Akali. So huge value here in synergy breaking and going for the Poppy instead of the Gragas.
A lot of responsiveness right now on Dignitas' side to exactly what Golden Guardians is bringing forth as their immediate threats. Milio changing a bit on 13.12, but not enough to keep him out of play.
Yeah, some slight nerfs. Just shrug them off there. You've got the cleanse and the engage on your bottom lane now. Lots of utility from this Dignitas bottom lane, and honestly, that's how they want to draft. Bring the utility from the bottom side. Jensen going to be the primary carry. Now we're looking across at River, of course, the Jarvan, the classic champion for him, but we get the Rell support. It's much better in support than jungle, by the way. I was trying to convince Jad of this. On the next patch, maybe, they've got some more tweaks where they're going to buff up the jungle Rell and take down the support role. But right now, with those changes that they made and the possibilities here for Rell, now you do have the stun on your Q instead. It has really risen to priority in engage support role. And guess what? Huhi is one of the all-time Rell beasts here in the LCS. So happy to see him get his hands on it early out of the changes that were made.
So Huhi on the Rell versus plenty of utility on the opposite side. When it comes to these drafts, what's your verdict, Kobe? What's your read?
I mean, I'm slightly on the side of Golden Guardians now, even though I do really like the opener here from Dignitas. I feel like they're going to have to weather such a storm. And Golden Guardians' early game has been brutal, so I think that they might be able to make something happen here. They've got the Akali matchup in mid lane. If they're able to, get Gori some kills there, then it might make Jensen's life a little bit more difficult.
Well, both these teams in Dignitas and Golden Guardians had to scrap a win away at the end of week 1 and are looking to kick things off with a good start here in week number 2. But we'll have to see. I am excited with some of the initial impact of 13.12. 2 teams that took a flexible approach to draft. And I want to see who's going to come out on top, because I feel like Fudge definitely instilled some of that spiciness when he was saying on stream, making his predictions that he believes Dignitas, based on scrim results, will take down Golden Guardians. But Kobe, it also feels like a lot of times we talk about scrim results and then they don't always fare the same on the stage.
Yeah, don't trust your scrim data too far. I'm super hyped because, like you're saying, Fudge weighing in on this. This is a top laner matchup here that is highly sought after. Licorice, and during his MSI time here with Golden Guardians, definitely the big star. And even then coming back, even though Golden Guardians started 1 and 2, a little bit sluggish after their MSI performance, Licorice has still looked very good, even in the losses that they had. So see what he can do going into Rich. It is kind of a combo breaker matchup. The Poppy is very annoying for the Jax to deal with the W to break the jump, and a little bit more options here for Dig as far as just trying to track enemy jungle. Saplings are going to get a lot of work for Santorin. Just wanted to keep track of River and make sure that Golden Guardians don't get too much volatility in their favor, because if Dignitas get what they want, it will be a slow and controlled game.
But for the side of Golden Guardians, it's definitely a different look. I found it interesting, Stixxay actually is speaking in an interview that he did on Small Talk with Shibia's. His lane takes a bit of damage in this poke, about how so many of their wins past split came off of Sejuani and Vi, and they really want to try and find other looks from that jungle position. And we noticed that immediately off the bat in their drafts, River going for aggressive picks, going for carries, going for that unique identity so that they can diversify the strategies with which they try to crush opponents. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But we'll see if he can pop off here on the Kindred.
And Kindred is always best paired when you've got engaged somewhere else on your team, either top lane or support. And in this case, huhi has made his name on support engages for so long here. Big playmaking, and him to be able to get his hands on the new Rell, even though they did take quite a lot of damage in that early trade, should be something that River wants to play off of. Being able to play off Rell engages now. The engage is incredibly good with this champion, and bottom lane pushing out for Golden Guardians is definitely going to give them that top to bottom clear, easy route here for River. He's going to come up and play the 50-50 on Scuttle Crabs, see if he can roll the dice and get his bottom side Kindred mark to spawn. But of course, Dignitas won't be caught off guard. The other benefits of having the utility bottom lane of the Ashe and Milio is that you, of course, do get the Hawk shot. And the first Hawk shot did find that it was a top to bottom clear for River, so they know his exact location. huhi coming up here, already that support gameplay trying to help out with Kindred. Make sure they've got full control of the mark, but they lose the coin flip, and the mark is on top side.
Opposite ways, but still something to chase down as a future goal right now. Just going for the scuttle on bot for Golden Guardians to achieve some of that vision. Santorin making that work on top.
huhi going to try and see if he can mess with the Maokai, keep him off it, but there's no chance. So get back to lane. His timer here is going to be a little bit delayed behind Stixxay, who's walking back, but should be just fine as the wave is pushing towards him. Diamond and Tomo just trying to shove it right on back so that they can match their recalls. Tomo and Diamond currently being down those recalls, down those items. They don't want to get stuck here.
Yeah, a little bit down in CS on the side of Golden Guardians because of that shove, and with Dragon spawning in 40 seconds, you definitely don't want to be caught too far out of position before those neutral objectives start becoming something that you want to begin warding around from support. And kind of talking a bit more about that utility on the bot side, I think for Tomo and Diamond going against such a strong bot lane in Stixxay and huhi, it's great for them to have tools that they can offer the team beyond just the lane. Having that utility to access in team fights, as well as gathering that information in terms of vision to put some more power in the pockets of people like Jensen, who can be that veteran to step up on such an age-old pick with which he has much experience. Diamond now making his way towards mid with Gori hanging low on HP, but the poke obviously being good for Jensen.
Yep. Jensen Azir was the first win that Dignitas got last split in one of their very few number of wins. And so a lot of faith here put into it for Dignitas. I think it's rightly been invested. That turret plate already going to get knocked off pretty early on in the pure 2v2, and even at sometimes 1v2. Okay, it needs one more auto to cash in on that turret plate as we go for fishing for a flash here on Jensen pre-level 6. The idea is for Gori and huhi here, if you could pop a summoner spell or something, then Akali gets level 6 and you get to put that kill pressure onto the Azir. But huhi's been spending a lot of time roaming up around here through the river, and there's been a lot of vision here that he's had to go through. Now he might actually, nah, he's fine.
Yeah, that control all the while had Dignitas with their eyes locked on where huhi was roaming, was able to take it out and just replace it with another. Also, you have to think about those saplings and how those come into play as we're setting up for Dragon, and clearly two different approaches for how to try and create some priority around this bot side of the map. Both junglers here towards top. River. No, Santorin is nearby, throwing out the saplings.
Santorin doesn't know that River has no smite right now, and it would be a little bit dangerous. His mid laner just recalled, don't want to walk up to a Kindred, you get hit with a slow. Annoying to try and get away, even though you can, and especially with phase rush, you would be able to, but does not know he has smite advantage, does not go up and try and yoink that one. Now on recalls for the mid laners, though, we've got the alternator pickup for Gori, plus the extra burst damage here from the shard. So,
oh, he's going in for it. Tomo has to flash away. Both summoners expelled. The damage good with a Q procced on Tomo, but in the end, it was aggression from Golden Guardians trying to kick that off.
All right, double summoners down on Tomo on the Ashe. Definitely a point that River, as we were talking about earlier, would want to play off of huhi's engage. Maybe they can get something going around on bottom side of the map here. Currently, River's going to take a while to get there as he's clearing top down again on the full clear.
Oh, Rich going for the hit, sends Licorice a packin'. Good route from the ultimate of Stixxay, and empowered Q slices through Tomo, but plenty of shielding available from Diamonds. Dignitas now just circling around under their turret, trying to keep those plates protected.
And a lot of pressure on the bottom side here, not resulting in anything further after the double summoners were blown. Huhi, though, of course, with the Rell and the Hex Flash can repeat that pressure and constantly fish for looks on the bottom side of the map. Rift Herald spawning right now, though, and River heading over. See if he can find that control ward, clear that one out, get his support to recall at the similar time. Huhi's heading up. And even though it's over vision, it looks like Santorin is still on red. And if Santorin lags too much on red, that thing will be gone very, very quickly here. Ashe is going to scout it out.
Yep, Santorin's finally making that rotation upward. Has Jensen, has Diamond, Enchanted Crystal Arrow, along with the Maokai ultimate. Many a stuns, but the Kindred ultimate, as a result, keeps River in it. Slamming into the back, River flashes away, and first blood is drawn by Jensen. 2 traded for 1, but Licorice looking for a wall to flash over, finds it. Gori, nice and healthy, can just swag walk it out there.
And the faith in Jensen is rewarded there. They've got all the support to set him up. The Ashe Arrow into the Maokai ultimate as Gori's still poking around. Shouldn't be able to get anything here, though, from Dig, but it all rewards Dignitas with not 1, but 2 kills and the first blood bonus going to Jensen's hand as well. Ideal early scenario here for Dignitas with the way that they want this game to go with their draft for scaling for team fighting. Nails the Ashe Arrow into the Maokai ultimate, forcing Kindred ultimate, and then Jensen goes for it. And they are able to get so much out of that. Even though ends up with Golden Guardians having the gold lead here, I think they're very happy with getting the first blood bonus, with getting it onto Jensen. Here's a look at it. Of course, the counter kill to Gori might get scary. All the burst damage opening with the early items as well. But here's the look after. Santorin waits, then he goes in with the W to root him in. Even though River flashes, Jensen's able to get the kill right afterwards. That's 2 for them. Meanwhile, Gori did get the counter kill onto jungle, got double buffs, and is kind of this big hope here for Golden Guardians. The kill threat with the early burst damage on those 2 items. And next time ult comes back up, could be very real.
Okay, so Dignitas getting those early advantages they were looking for, but Golden Guardians responding with the immediacy to go towards Dragon to pick the first one up for themselves. Static Shiv now built on Stixxay as well, one of the items to undergo some changes on this patch. So
our first Static Shiv! And it will not to be our last Static Shiv either.
You know, we're all just gonna be stuck with socks on our feet, running on carpet, static all day long. But Golden Guardians first to get this look, locking the ultimate onto Tomo, so they get the cleanse out. That's 1 summoner blown and an ultimate from Diamond as well.
Yeah, a little bit of a double up there. Cleanse and the ultimates from Milio going down. So Stixxay very happy with that one. Gets super high value out of his Varus ultimate. God, he has been doing so much work down here on the Varus. He's given huhi so much time to roam, it's insane. And there we see the wave clear of the Varus with a Static Shiv rush. You get your Static Shiv proc on the wave and then just Q right through it. The whole wave is instantly gone. And that's why there's so much time here now for huhi to roam around. Constantly linking up with this Kindred, exactly what you want. Somebody to give that engage to this jungle carry champion to try and get River towards that Trinity Force. He's ever so close to it.
Yeah, there are kind of 2 sides to the good engaged support that can roam. It's the support that can play that style, but also that bot laner that can remain in lane safely and still manage to get some advantages.
Yeah, and look at this. Well, left alone with the recalls for Dignitas bottom lane. They recall their bottom lane because they're already losing there and they want to make the swap up to Rift Herald. So they commit hard to the Rift Herald, but Stixxay down there with the static shiv clear, instantly up to the tower, instantly taking turret plates by hand, and they're ready for a dive. Kindred ultimate is available, makes your dives a lot safer here.
Rich teleported down to get here as well. And now with the 8-wave ushered through, teleport response from Golden Guardians just to make sure they can finish this off. The kick away from Rich to try and even the numbers just a tad. Does manage to fall at the hands of Golden Guardians. Stixxay with the kill credit.
They say, okay, you're going to overload 4 Rift Herald on that side, then we're going to teleport 4-person dive your opposite side of the map. The only drawback is, of course, Rift Herald will ensure charge number 2. If Dignitas stick around here and they're able to get 2 towers, it doesn't look like it though with huhi coming up to match as well. So I really like that call from Golden Guardians. With the full commitment from Dignitas up to the top side of the map, Dignitas do get the Rift Herald and get their 1 tower, but it's the extra kill for Golden Guardians in addition to trading towers. And it was isolated gold on the early turret plates there for Stixxay that he was able to get for himself. Plus the experience lead that he has from so much huhi roaming time. This Varus is going to be very annoying. Static Shiv AP Varus.
It's why this gold lead has managed to be pretty tranquil, pretty samey because of the responsiveness of Golden Guardians to make sure they get those plates while Dignitas made that play up top with the Rift Herald. But now we get a little bit of quiet time. A lot of warding for Dignitas over on that top side because of their progression forward, just to be able to maintain control over that neutral objective. But now it's Gori pushing up to get some more plates before they fall in about 15 seconds time.
Yummy Akali turret plate money in the side lane here. And this is what we're going to see Golden Guardians build into with their comp, because Dignitas, they want solid, standard, easy 5-on-5s, front to back, slow and controlled game. Golden Guardians, though, have massive split push advantage with Jax and Akali, and huge wave clear in mid lane with AP Static Shiv Varus. So should be some side lane pushing for them in order to get advantages to set up for this dragon. River going to preempt that, getting vision down behind the dragon pit and stealing away the red, as well as the Raptors.
That's why Golden Guardians are positioned the way they are with 30 seconds until that dragon spawns. We tend to see a fight across mid. Stixxay going for the chain of corruption, but narrowly misses. And Dignitas focusing on clearing the wave. They know that Golden Guardians are going to rotate towards the dragon first.
All right, 4 marks for River. Everything going according to plan here for the Golden Guardians. Trinity Force, Divine Thunder, double static shivs have come in. That shard that we talked about earlier for Gori finally turned into the shiv. And Golden Guardians have teleport on that Akali as well. There is a ward by Raptors. That ward right there could be the target for teleport for Gori flank.
The Golden Guardians have started up the dragon. Dignitas encroaching upon the river, and teleport used by Golden Guardians to try and get the opposite angle. huhi going in with the ultimate activated, but goes down at the hand of Jensen. Dignitas wanting to follow up with some more. Dragon slain by River all the while. Golden Guardians shifted away with the Emperor's Divide. Jensen giving his life for it, and the Lamb's Respite escaped by River to be out of the zone to take the damage. Dignitas making it bloody, but Golden Guardians with that dragon in hand.
Always fun to see Azir head first in for the shuffle, but gets popped in the 1-for-1. Now, the Maokai ultimate does all the work here to delay the rest of the team for Dignitas. The Maokai ult means there's no follow-up on the huhi engage, so huhi's there and Gori teleports in, but huhi gets focused down. All 5 of Dig, they kite, they use the zoning of the Maokai ultimate to be able to get the advantage in the team fight. And then in the chase down, it just ends up being a 1-for-1 with flashes and ults, both used from Jensen as well as from River here, trading the Azir for the Kindred in the end. But they also went +1 flash on that play with the extra flash blown, so still worth it for an Azir shuffle.
Okay, Kobe, so Dignitas still infusing some gold into Jensen, picking up more kills, but Golden Guardians picking up another dragon. What are your thoughts on where these teams are at this point in the game?
I mean, I like the 2 dragon stacking here for Golden Guardians because they've got really good side laning, so they won't have to worry too much about being drawn into fights that they don't want to have to take. They're going to have a lot more decision-making power here for them towards the mid game. Dignitas, they're fairly straightforward, and what they want to do is very linear, so easier for Golden Guardians to predict and to play around. That being said, in the last engage with that pincer movement, Golden Guardians will have to get better with their engages. You know, you have to take into account the CC and the zoning power that comes from Maokai ultimate, Ashe ultimate, and Azir ultimate. It's not easy to find those angles onto this Dig squad. They're so solid. They've got Poppy W to deny from the front, Maokai ultimate cutting out a giant area. So the 5-on-5s aren't really a big advantage, and you're looking for some more side lane plays.
Oh, stun Santorin's in some trouble. Taken out before anything really even happens between the two teams. Rich is going forward. Double knockup onto multiple members of Golden Guardians, and huhi wants to take Tomo down with him. It's a 2-for-1 trade thus far. Licorice picking up the enemy ADC and is hungry for more. Rich, what a slice from the Q from Stixxay, but manages to stay alive.
Those AP Varus pops. Even with the attack speed, early items here still definitely lands a lot on that Q. Being able to pop those stacks. It looks like in the aftermath, Akali's also going to get solo gold on the top tower. So not only is this a nice little play here from Golden Guardians with huhi being able to disengage, they get the counter here. And Rich goes right at Rivers because he knows Kindred no ultimate and he should be able to get this kill. It's still definitely very positive for Golden Guardians. Not only do they get the extra kill in the play, but they should on live also have gotten the solo tower gold on top side for the Akali. Yep, good job there for Gori. So even more money into one of those split pushers.
While the gold hasn't been heavily in the lead of one or another at this point in time, Golden Guardians just barely trying to push that over towards 1K after Dignitas were starting to build something up for themselves, but they're here ready for the site. Santorin rocking on in with the twisted advance. Licorice has to flash out of the pit.
Yeah, it's pretty scary about the lockdown there following up, so does expend the flash, doesn't want to have to wait till next Q up. Long cooldown on that, just jump through the teammate. Objective acquired though, so he's got that extra split pushing power of the Rift Herald in his pockets now. Always nice to have one of your solo laners pick up the Rift Herald number 2 if you are trying to make a dent in one of those secondary turrets on the sideline. Side lane secondary turrets, we say it all the time, but 800 gold for the team. Juicy objectives there. And we've got a short little pause here.
Little one, but Dignitas and Golden Guardians are keeping it pretty tight, Kobe. I mean, it doesn't feel like anyone has truly run away with the game, but we're looking at Dignitas to be able to execute as a team, whereas Golden Guardians feel like they have a little bit of diversity in the strategy they can bring because they have that split push potential as well, and with that Rift Herald in Licorice's pocket.
Exactly. See if we can get any info on what this pause is about. But yeah, Golden Guardians with the double static shivs, going to be able to push waves very quickly as well. So, you know, the introduction and the popularity of this item also kind of helps out in that map control. Instantly shoving waves, collapsing into jungle, starving out your opponents of resources. Meanwhile, Golden Guardians, like we keep saying, they have built up a very solid team here in draft. It is very linear and straightforward, but the extra cleanse from Milio, as long as they work on their communication and their trust and don't overlap that with the cleanse as well, should be pretty solid there, trying to create some space for the Jensen Azir that has gotten a couple of the early kills for early money. Some funding to try and carry their team fights.
Yeah, I think that's a good direction for Dignitas to go when considering last week what we saw from the team where there was strength out of Rich, and we're wanting to see Santorin and Jensen step up a bit and kind of get some looks that allow them that early game agency. And here we saw a little bit of that today. It looks like Gori had gotten up and left, so something really...
Yeah, I just got word that it is a keyboard issue for Gori, so I believe he's going to get maybe a backup keyboard or something.
Do you have a backup keyboard at home? Or...
I do. I have a couple because I've gotten a lot of them from like winning prizes, online tournaments and stuff like that. So I just have random extra peripherals. And
You're
stuff.
just set up for life.
Yeah.
Cycle through them. I feel like that's always good. I tend to be a spiller, so if I don't have a keyboard in the closet or something, then I feel like I'm living on life's edge.
Yeah, dangerous without a backup.
Yeah. If I feel a little extra reckless, maybe I throw the other one away and say, just one shot.
All right, what are you spilling? Can we just solve this with a change to a sippy cup or like one of those traveler cups?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm spilling lots of things. A lot of times, like pre-workout, I did spill protein shake across one time, but some of my friends, as a kind of gag but low-key really good gift, had given me, it's this cup that not only is completely sealable at the top and has a straw, but it's got a suction on the bottom of it that pulls off really easily when you're actually trying to drink your drink, but it is unknockable. You can swing at that ish and it's not going anywhere.
So you are a well-known spiller, I guess.
Oh yeah, dude, why do you think I'm wearing dark clothes the majority of the time? And I wear bibs around when I have to eat or drink anything because I can't be trusted. I guarantee 40% of the time while on this camera, I have had coffee on me that you just can't see because I'm selective about my patterns.
Nice. The game of hide the coffee stain.
Yeah.
The classic morning ritual. All right. Looks like Gori, though, does have backup keyboard plugged right in, going through the check right now, and should be a smooth way right back into the game.
Get those hands warm again. Not with any warm liquids, though. Just moving around, and here we are.
Quick solve.
Back where we started. Well, not exactly where we started, because we are over 19 and a half minutes into the game. Dignitas and Golden Guardians neck and neck with the next dragon spawning in about 40 seconds time.
All right. I'm excited to see some of these Akali pops in the side lane now because part of the reason Static Shiv jumped up so much in popularity was the AP ratio that's put on it and the amount of charges you can gain while dashing. And guess what? Akali's got a lot of dashes, so she can charge up to Static Shiv very quickly. And with the Proto Belt as well, adding even more mobility to the massive mobility here in the kit. So I think it will be a fun thing to watch, him jumping around these team fights with all that mobility and all that electricity. The Dragon about to spawn, and Golden Guardians actually heading here kind of early. They didn't get another shove on top lane before this happened. They're just going to go with the Rift Herald play down mid to get mid priority that way first.
A classic approach whenever a dragon is spawned in and you have that Rift Herald, throw it down mid. It draws some of the attention from Dignitas. Does manage to get a charge, but not much attention for long. Golden Guardians didn't immediately start up the dragon. They know Dignitas are coming forth. Dig being very focused on their team fight. Gori finding a positioning on the opposite side of the pit, but huhi's the first one to go and make the play. Gori slicing through the back, but Santorin trying to lock back down. Dig Diamond is the first one to fall for Dignitas, and Golden Guardians keeping focus on this dragon. It's getting poked from both sides, though. The range that Tomo has and the ability to do so. Jensen trying to get a little bit of a poke at it as well, but the re-engage is good from Licorice. Now, all of the obliteration onto Santorin, and Dignitas cannot contest here. Golden Guardians, third dragon for themselves.
Beautiful crack on that team fight. Golden Guardians with the double flank have on the top side huhi coming through with the Rell yet again. This time, he flashes in to preempt the defensive move from Dig, and Dig are unable to peel this time around. Once Gori got in there, you saw Gori just instantly assassinate the Milio. He goes right for the Milio so he can't enchant anybody else up. He's a squishy target, so huhi flashes in, goes in with the Rell ultimate, gets him locked up. Gori flashes to follow up, follows the E back onto him, instantly bursts down the Milio. They've got the advantage in the team fight. He can even use R2 to get back out over the wall, and they reset with their numbers advantage. Then just using this dragon, the Hex Dragon, with that little chain lightning as well. Licorice as soon as he gets his stun, and Stixxay having the cooldowns here to force Rich back out too means Santorin, there's no way out for him. He's either gonna go down running away or go down Wing back into the Golden Guardians, and he chooses the latter there. So the extra kills, and Golden Guardians keep on with their dragon stacking ways, and their options here are proliferating.
Building up advantages over the past 8 minutes or so. Stixxay did just use the cleanse to escape the effect of the enchanted crystal arrow from Tomo. That ultimate cooldown for Tomo does become pretty short, so you expect to throw those out pretty consistently as long as there's not a major objective that you're trying to hold it out for. but all the while a little bit of a breather. Now Golden Guardians having secured that gold lead past that 1,000 mark.
We've traded 1v1 partners, and Gori's like, okay, I'm not going to take down this Poppy, but I still kill most of the minion wave with the static shiv anyway. And then on the other split push partner, we're going to have a flank, River and huhi, looking for Jensen.
Uh-oh,
Can he cue?
Jensen, can he get there? huhi goes for the grab, and it's River with the kill credit. Golden Guardians collapse pretty good.
Pretty good indeed. Pick off the other split pusher, static shiv the wave on the top side so they don't lose any priority here. Allows Licorice to push back out on this Jax as well. Golden Guardians pathway now looks very smooth. River even getting another mark. That is 8 marks at just under 24 minutes into the game. This is a very happy Kindred player.
And like you said, for Dignitas, they have a very clear-cut strategy. They want to team fight, and when it's Golden Guardians that have control over the map, they're going to have an easier time extending those wards forward as they've taken down more turrets. It's more difficult for Dignitas to find the opportunities to do so.
Yeah, they've got to really mark huhi. Last time they had a ward that saw him a little bit early, but then since huhi used everything to jump in there too quickly, they couldn't react. So they really need to mark these flankers, the Akali and the Rell, the two most prominent. But Licorice himself trying to fish around.
Rich, though, poking around as well. They know that they don't see Licorice across mid or on the side lane, so he had to be lurking somewhere. Dignitas feel like they are a bit more wary when it comes to separating. Diamond making sure to keep his carrying Tomo alive, or his bot laner at that, and Santorin just really trying to lie in wait here, Kobe. It's very difficult for them to find their openings.
Yeah, this Dignitas squad, because their engage is pretty slow moving, if it's not for the Ashe arrow nailing somebody who does not see the Ashe arrow coming, it's going to be kind of hard for Dig to actually choose their moment. And that's why we keep talking about Golden Guardians have so many more options, and they're the ones being able to push out side lanes, being able to force the vision the way they want around these objectives. And unless it's a god tier Ashe arrow to start it out here from Dig, where the rest of the members can then follow up with the slow moving Maokai ultimates and get there in time with the Azir damage, then it is going to be Golden Guardians really being the ones choosing the locations and the sites for these fights.
How do you find that sneaky arrow when there's red wards everywhere? You can't find any pocket to hide in if you're anyone for Dignitas. And Golden Guardians with the continued map control, just really limiting those options, but broadening the options for themselves. 20 seconds to go before the next dragon spawns. This would be the 4th for Golden Guardians in the acquisition of a soul, unless Dignitas can do something about it.
Okay, they see the Rell, they see the Akali up on the Baron side, but the whiff on the Varus ultimate.
Can't do any follow-up from that. At least Golden Guardians making sure not to commit until they get some kind of lockdown onto Dignitas. Everyone from Dignitas out in the open across mid lane.
Yeah, Golden Guardians right now trying to use this dangling dragon soul, 4th dragon up, as a kind of distraction to be able to go for the Baron. They keep hovering towards the Baron side, so if Dig go down there and they try and cut off the dragon soul pickup, then Golden Guardians are threatening that they will very quickly burn down that Baron.
And at the very least, Gori getting one up on the top. Ultimate out from Maokai. River just able to sidestep it. Dignitas, they wanted to find the angle, but they could not. And Golden Guardians takes that pulling away of their resources as a win for them to go take the objective instead. GG on the Dragon.
Yeah, they're on the Dragon, and they're on the top lane, and they're on the Baron vision. So this is the benefits of being able to push the rest of the map. Akali pushes the minion wave up to the secondary turret on top side. Licorice is on the Dragon. Gori then rotates on over to this Baron start that they've done. And they might have taken too much damage here. huhi's already down to 50% HP on the Rell. Support tanks are not built like the rest of them. A little bit more squishy here. They can't afford to fully tank it. And it looks like Golden Guardians might have tried to do too much there. As they get chased off of Baron, the minion wave got cleared on top side, and they can just slip in and pick up the Dragon for themselves. So Golden Guardians trying to do a lot, but Dignitas being able to defend and in the end pick up the easy Drake.
The hope from Golden Guardians was to divide those resources from Dignitas, a team that wants to play together, but instead, when drawing them apart but not able to draw the health bars down enough onto the objectives, they don't pick anything up just yet. Dignitas, on the other hand, getting their first Drake, but it's just one, and now the focus is back over onto the top side. Golden Guardians whittling down the Baron once again, teleport coming on in as well to ensure the team in full is here for any approach that Dignitas makes from downtown. Early. Santorin throws out the ultimate once again. Poppy kicks Licorice away, and Stixxay very close to death before the Lamb's Respite ends up popping. Gori goes into the backline, tries to get the kill onto Rich, but has to go golden. It's a shutdown onto Stixxay, but the entirety of the bot lane for Dignitas has been killed. Double kill for River, and Golden Guardians want to lock their sights on the remaining members of Dignitas. Golden Guardians with the Baron, Golden Guardians with the ace.
It was scrappy, it was messy, but in the end, Golden Guardians will get the Baron. Poppy ultimate is able to get the Jax out, not the jungler out, because River was hiding in the back of it. And then River, really good ultimate here, saves Stixxay, gives them some time to force out the Dig bat line. You see Rich and Diamond got so low, but then Jensen, he shifts in, he tries to go for the big kills, the sweep on that Kindred ultimate. The last second stopwatch there from Licorice keeps him alive. And they only drop 2 members to Dig as Dig tried to sweep in there at the very end of that Baron and pull out the extra kills. Even though it was a little scrappy there for Golden Guardians, in the end, they get their Baron and they won the team fight as well. So now they'll be coming back so much more items in inventory here for them to be able to complete this siege. Almost 8,000 the gold lead, as well as being 3 minutes away from the Dragon Soul.
River putting in work and damage, but also in utility, keeping Stixxay in there, and Golden Guardians walking away with a lot in that 8,000 gold lead. Buff still in tow for 1 minute and 20 seconds more. Dignitas, their circle just becomes smaller and smaller. Tails between legs in their own jungle as Golden Guardians have already pressured the side lanes and are looking to pressure more.
Yep, take away the jungle while pushing 2 lanes. Jax mid, rest of the members rotate down to Gori, who's already pushing on bottom side. So the Baroned up minions will do a lot of work here. Even for Azir, they're kind of difficult to clear out, but it looks like they will get it up. Mid lane now is going to crash there as well. Varus arrow is answered by the Milio ult. This time, they don't double up on the cleanse plus ult at the same time, so that's definitely improvement there for Dig. 1-for-1 trade.
Some more team synergy coming from Dignitas, specifically from that bot lane, but will it be enough to keep Golden Guardians off their front porch and keep that door locked? But GG keep on pushing.
And the cooldown for Varus ultimate is way shorter than the cooldown for Milio ultimate, so Stixxay is just going to keep on throwing these out, fishing around for picks. Always worth it if he's able to burn that one. And that level lead for AD carries that we were talking about in the early game with all the roaming there for huhi has expanded 2 levels now, the lead for Stixxay, as well as across the board, River in the jungle as well over Santorin. And those are the benefits of having so much map control and being able to push all 3 lanes constantly in this game, and then be able to collapse into jungle to steal away even more resources.
And Dignitas, I mean, we've seen in the last fights the attempts to go by the game plan. Jensen trying to get in there, throwing out the Emperor's Divide, wanting to really divvy up Golden Guardians. Santorin ulting from outside of vision to get that lockdown. But Golden Guardians' response has been great, especially when using those reactive ultimates like the Kindred ultimate, and then even being able to sidestep some of the specific targeting, like Rich, for instance, wanting to knock on the jungler, but getting a solo laner instead. GG are just looking cleaner. Oh, but here we go, teleport coming in for Dignitas, and an immediate stun onto Licorice, who pops the watch. Turret doing some damage. Oh, there's the Emperor Divide to knock 2 under the turret, and huhi goes golden himself alongside Jensen. Gori from the flank wants to go for the kill, finds it onto Azir, and Gori now very dangerous for a moment until the rest of the team can collapse upon Santorin, and Golden Guardians get their second ace.
Yep, and that might do it for us. It's only 32 minutes into the game, but Golden Guardians pushing the inhibitor, going for the Nexus turrets. Everybody from Dig is dead, and Golden Guardians will pull it out.
I'm sorry, Fudge, but it looks like you're wrong on your prediction for the day. Starting week 2 strong, it is Golden Guardians decimating Dignitas to really pull things together with a little bit of flair in the final moments. Oh, the double ace and a win.
Nice timing on the pop at the end. The finishing touches there from Golden Guardians with the fountain kill.
You always have to appreciate the flair, the style with which you knock on Nexus.
The adaptability here, jumping on the changes. Multiple static shifts picked up, playing the side lanes. Licorice even went with the blind Jax, full faith that Dignitas are going into full team fighting. And Golden Guardians played around them very well. Only one botched engage with the stuff around the Maokai ultimate on the very early fight that Dig were able to pull it out. After that one, immediately returned to this exact same strategy, the flanking Rell, the flanking Akali, and they break it wide open with that one.
It feels that Golden Guardians are very eager to be the first to adapt to changes, the first to find out what looks both play into the comfort for the players, as well as something that can perform well in the existing meta. And it was also great to see huhi back on the Rell with the changes in tow.
Yeah, this is why we get excited when you see him pick this champion for Golden Guardians. Longtime Rell player. New Rell, same huhi though. Found the engage. This one was quite hilarious. On top of the Kindred ultimate, then the Azir bounce, then the Poppy W bounce. So Dignitas did pretty well in that scenario to be able to get the frontline kills, but too much of a lead for Golden Guardians. You see the damage coming from Gori and Stixxay. The double static Shiv carries, able to pop them in the end. AP Varus is no joke. The explosion damage definitely felt at home.
Yeah, he put in some work and put in some work in the typical way in laning as well, just holding it down to get strong enough to be able to poke effectively later on for Golden Guardians. But that does it for our first game of week 2. For now, we're kicking into a break. But on the other side, Team Liquid take on Energy.
So, copy, over. Yep.
Crystal Arrow along with the Maokai ultimate, many a stun, but the Kindred ultimate as a result keeps River in it. Slamming into the back, River flashes away, and first blood is drawn by Jensen. Gori goes into the backline, tries to get the kill onto Ridge, but has to go golden. It's a shutdown onto Stixxay, but the entirety of the bot lane for Dignitas has been killed. Double kill for River, and Golden Guardians want to lock their sights on the remaining members of Dignitas. Golden Guardians with the Baron, Golden Guardians with the Ace.
I've got the Samsung 990 Pro series. Shall we get started then? This speed exceeds all expectations. Reading speeds are 40% quicker than before, and writing speeds are 55% faster. Through the in-house controller, the per watt performance has improved up to 50%. The 990 Pro's nickel coating controller for its smart thermal solution technology controls heat. Playing computer games? Obviously the best.